What is good, everybody? Welcome back to the show. Got a good one for you today. I know I say that all the time, but this really is a good, entertaining episode. Kyle, a.k.a. Golden State Vintage, is in the hot seat talking to me about all the great things, including, but not limited to, buying the $76,000 jeans. He is the man who bought the $76,000 jeans. Picking bandos and crazy finds in abandoned houses. His early days, how he got into vintage, the bins, the scene of true vintage fashion trend-wise, and all kinds of things in between. It's a really great episode. Really nice dude, humble guy, Golden State Vintage. Super stoked to have him on. And without further ado, we are going to get into this episode right now.
Vintage clothing by the rack, yeah. Just check out my Insta, how you gon' argue with that? Everything you see, I manifest. I'm an architect, I think I'ma run it back. We got vintage clothing by the rack. Just check out my Insta, how you gon' argue with that? Everything you see, I manifest. I'm an architect, I think I'll have some of that.
Okay, Kyle,
What's up?
a.k.a. Golden State Vintage. I've been trying to get you on the show for a long time, dude.
Yeah, it's been a minute. I've been trying to put it off a little bit, to be honest, but
You have, for sure. You've been very successful in putting it off. But I've talked about you on the show, too, because I still think you come up with crazy stuff, man. You always have good product, and you're super consistent on posting amazing product. So I've said that on the show many times, that you're like my favorite follow on IG just because you post such cool stuff. So I'm super stoked to have you today, dude.
thank you for having me. Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm stoked. Stoked we're actually finally able to do this.
Hell yeah. So I want to kick it back to the beginning. We want to get to know you, man. How did this all begin for you? Like, what was the intro to you into the vintage world?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's for like the same for a lot of people. Like, I just started going to thrift stores basically, when I was like 16, 17. I'm 24 now, but yeah, I was hitting thrift stores like every weekend basically, like just going find cool shit that I like to wear and like it kind of just turned into me starting to sell and like Depop and stuff, and from there I kind of just got more and more into it, and I don't know, I just started to love clothes. I've always loved clothes, always loved fashion, always loved style, always been super into that kind of stuff. And so basically kind of just like played hand in hand, and I just like to buy stuff for myself. And then I was like, oh, I got over stuff, and I started throwing it up on Depop. People were buying it, and I was making a little bit of money. And then kind of just slowly, gradually got better and better, started to find more cool stuff, learn more and more, got like started researching stuff. And it always started off with like the 90s shit that I would find at the store that I didn't really know. I would just pick up whatever was cool to me, or like,
yeah, of course.
I remember I found like this old Social Distortion shirt at a thrift, and I was like so stoked on it, and I had no idea it was like a good shirt, and I definitely undersold it on Depop. But like I was like, and then I look back, I'm like, oh shit, like I was like from the 90s. I could have gotten so much more money for that thing, but it was like, I don't know, it's cool. It's just funny how I've gotten to where I'm at, just starting off like going to thrift. I would ride my bike to thrift stores like every week and just buy cool shit for myself, spend 2-3 hours in the thrift and just like try shit on, shop look at everything in the thrift store.
Are you San Diego born and raised?
I'm actually born in Arcadia, which is like kind of by Pasadena in LA, and I lived there for the first like 12 years of my life. And I moved around a lot because of my my dad's work. He works for like hotels, so like I've had to move around a lot, different areas. I've lived in a lot of different areas throughout my life, been to a lot of different schools. But yeah, now I'm in San Diego, and I've been in like Austin, Texas. I've been in just different parts of California, and but now I'm in San Diego for now. But who knows where the future is going to take me, if I'm going to stay in San Diego or if I'm gonna maybe go to LA. I don't know what the future really holds, but we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah. So I look back on your Instagram, and the early pictures on your Instagram are from the bins.
Yeah.
So eventually you migrated from the thrift stores to going to the bins, and what was that scene like for you when you started out?
You know how the bins are. It's the fucking bins. Can I cuss in here? Sorry. I can cuss
Yeah,
on here?
yeah, for sure.
Cool.
Yeah, you go for it. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, you know how the bins are. I would go to the bins every single day, like I loved the bins at the time, and I would back then. I think it was like 2018, maybe 2017, when shit was actually coming out a lot more. I feel like, and they weren't pulling shit in the back, and you could actually find more stuff, and it wasn't super saturated. I mean, it was a little saturated, but definitely not like now. But yeah, I was finding a lot of shit, and that's like where all my inventory was coming from. Like now I tend to, spend a little bit more to buy some items, as you can see, but everything I had back then, I was not, obviously didn't really have the finances to like spend a lot of money on items. So I would just go to the bins every day and just see what I could find, basically. And people like my friends
What was
say,
the crew like? Was there a lot of competition there? Like,
yes, there was a lot of competition, but like there was a lot more stuff to find, and it was a lot more fun. It's not as much fun to go to the bins anymore, I feel like, but it's funny because people ask me like, hey, like, do you think it's weird that you still have your bin pics like on your Instagram, like when you scroll all the way down? And yeah, I know it probably doesn't look good for like the whole feed and everything, and how people want to try to make this aesthetic to their feed, but like I kind of just think it's cool that like this is like where I came from. I started off as a little bins kid.
It shows the progression.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
No, I think it's fine. People get too wrapped up in that, and like they want to it's like they want to hide things. I think it's stupid.
I'm not gonna hide anything.
But I think it's cool to know where you. Yeah, exactly. And I think, like for people that don't know, like people listening to this, some of them probably know about the bins, but some of them don't. Explain, like you're saying it's not as fun anymore. Explain why it used to be fun. Like give us like that, kind of explain like a day in the bins back in those days. Like how I picture it is like as a crew, you're all friends, you're all like competing, but still like fucking with each other and having fun. A lot of laughs, like hanging around, waiting for the rotations to happen, buying and selling from each other potentially, right?
Yeah. So that's actually kind of like how it was. Like there was a lot more like people that went there, they would be going there every day, and you would see them every day, and you guys would all be cool. And like there wasn't as many TikTok kids, I guess as you would want to call them, TikTok kids that just show up to the bins and just are very annoying sometimes. And it was a lot more fun. Like I feel like fucking the workers weren't pulling shit out of the bags as they are now. And because all Goodwills are catching on to what's going on. They know what the fuck is happening. They see that we're posting stuff. The Goodwills around the world, they follow the people that are posting stuff from their bins. Like this, nothing's on wrap. And they're seeing everything that's going on. They see they're seeing what's worth money. They're seeing what's the prices of shirts on eBay or the prices of jackets on eBay or whatever it may be. And they're catching on. But back then, like, it seemed like it was like more like the donations were raw and there was a lot more fun. Like if you're actually finding stuff and it's more fun when you find stuff at the bins. It's pretty obvious. Like you don't want to go to the bins and not find shit. Of course,
yeah.
And so yeah, it seemed like there was like a whole little crew that we had that was just like the everydayers that you would see every day, shoot the shit with them every day. It was a lot more fun. Like now it just seems like and a lot of those people from 2017, 2018 don't go to the bins anymore. I don't see them as much. There's a handful of people from those years that are still going to my location that I see when I go. Because I still go, but not as much because it's really not really worth it to me. But there's a handful of people that I see, and the rest of them have fallen off, or they just don't sell, but now it's just a whole new set of people that are cool, but not as cool as people that used to be there. And it seems like we're a lot more bloodthirsty for stuff because it's very rarely when a lot of the good shit comes out. So I mean, and
Yeah,
there's
I can imagine now, like if something comes out, everyone's trying to buy it off that person. So when you do go to the bins now, are you end up buying more off the other people than you do find shit?
I mean, it's also the fact that people don't even want to sell shit anymore. Everybody's too scared to sell stuff.
Yeah.
Everybody thinks like anything. If I ever see like old shit come out, the people who don't know about it and get it, they don't want to sell it because they're scared that they're going to undersell it. And they don't really realize that not everything that's old is worth crazy money. Like now people think they see like an old denim jacket, they think from like the 70s or 60s. Now it's not worth automatically $200. Like it could still be worth a little bit. And they think it is worth so much that they just don't even want to sell them. They're so scared. And it makes it a little bit harder. But
Yeah, fully.
it's nice for me to get my own old shit. Like I've from the location that I go to, there's been some pretty crazy shit that I've pulled throughout the years. And as of recent, I've pulled some crazy stuff. But yeah, people haven't realized.
So I guess you had a transition at some point into like more true vintage. Like you're pretty known now for like you're like leading the charge of true vintage here for like the young generation. I feel like you bought the $76,000 jeans, which we'll talk about later. But how did the education on that start? Obviously, there's the natural education where you're finding interesting stuff and you're having to learn about it. But like, did you have any mentors or kind of walk us through how you got really into older stuff and how you learned?
So I've been selling with. Shout out to my buddy Corey, Sundays Vintage. You guys should go check him out. But I sold my buddy Corey like 4 or 5 years ago. We used to do Long Beach and Long Beach, PCC, Pasadena City College. If you're not familiar with that, I mean you are, but
yeah,
anybody else that's watching, and Rose Bowl, obviously that everybody knows about Rose Bowl. I used to sell with him. I didn't have enough stuff to have my own booth, so I would sell with him, and he kind of gave me some he would teach me a lot. And I would also learn myself by just reading up on it, or looking into it. Always being on Instagram also helps a little bit. And just like I just started to love older shit more because of how like better the quality is, the designs are, just the history behind it, and the fits of stuff. Like, I think I can't really find any 90s t-shirt that would fit better than any 60s or 70s t-shirt for myself. But yeah, my buddy Corey, he taught me a lot. He really taught me about like quilts and like helped me with denim and just other stuff. And I progressively started to get more of it and started to learn more. And then that's when I started to sell by myself at Rose Bowl. And yeah, so shout out Corey. That's my buddy. And there's a lot of people there's probably a lot of people that have
Corey
helped me.
Still doing it? Is
Yeah,
Corey still
does it. Corey's still great. You guys really need to check him out. Sundays Vintage. He's a great dude. And shout out to him. He really helped me meet all these Japanese buyers that I have now. And because they would see us, I would sell with him. They come to him for shit, and then they'll see me and they go, oh, they look through my stuff, and I might have some stuff they like, and they're gonna keep on coming back to our booth. And I slowly, there's a lot of like people that I know now very well, like Berbergen and like a lot of those other Japanese buyers that there's a countless amount of them now because they're popping up even more. But just selling at Rose Bowl and selling at Long Beach, selling at PCC, and seeing them every weekend and trying to get so much good shit for them because they always want new shit. They always want better shit. Like that also pushed me to, want to just dig harder and get shit for them. And I started to realize the kind of stuff that they were buying. And that also is like, they buy a lot of the older shit. They like the older shit. And so me finding a lot of that, I needed to learn more about it to want to get more money for it and not want to like possibly undersell it or anything. So that also played hand in hand with the true vintage and the older shit, I guess.
So that's a good segue. I wanted to ask, we all go through times in periods where, or just specific examples when we undersell. I think you've already mentioned undersold a few things, but do you have any examples of things you undersold that you're like, shit, I let that go for crazy? And like, I've done it. Everybody who's learned the game had to do it at some point.
There's still times, like probably within the last month, that I've undersold stuff. But my business model personally is like, I'm trying to move shit. Sometimes it's like I might undersell it, but it's not because I didn't know. It's like I want to move it and I'm okay with that. But I guess when you meet undersell, it means like significantly amount less than what it goes for. So maybe I'm trying to think. Okay, I do remember something. So I even talked to one of the Berber Gin owners. You're probably familiar with Yamada, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, Yamada. We joke about this sometimes, but I remember from the bins I found like maybe like 5 to 10 of these like 50s and 60s like it was like a champion shirt and it said AAA. And I guess it was like an Air Force thing or like Army thing, and he bought them all for like 20 a piece or 30 a piece. And this was like 4 or 5 years ago at Long Beach. And I remember for like probably 2 years straight, he kept on asking me, do you ever find any more of the AAA shirts? And I'm like, fuck, why does he want so many? Like, I definitely, there was something, he probably made crazy money off those. But I remember those specifically that he just kept on bringing it up. And I can bring it up now and we'll still chuckle about it. Because now now he knows that I know more about that stuff. But 4 or 5 years ago when I pulled those from the bins, I wasn't thinking that in Japan they're probably $300 a piece and I'm selling it to this dude for $20-$30 and he was stoked.
And it probably just looked like a college shirt or something, right? Like a school graphic.
Yeah, you know how there's so much in vintage that we don't know about that we probably undersell a lot of. Oh man,
there's so many intricacies. I still learn so much stuff. That's what keeps it interesting. And that's kind of what keeps true vintage more interesting because there's a lot more to learn.
Yeah.
There's a lot more variations. There's a lot of subtle details that can change something from mediocre value to like very high value.
Like military, denim, like those specifically. There's like a lot of military stuff I've definitely undersold, not knowing that it's like, I don't want to put people on game, but like second pattern, third pattern, first pattern, stuff like that. Like when I was first starting, I didn't know much about that. And you can definitely understand a lot of that stuff when you don't know. Because that military denim, that takes years and years and years of learning to know little intricacies of certain pair of pants or jacket or military top or whatever to know like if it's either $100 or $300. Like there's little things that can change the value so crazy that you might not notice when you're first starting off.
I like what you said though about I'm in the business of moving product. That's smart because there's a lot of people, as you probably know in this game, that love to hold shit forever and love to try to grind that last penny out of every single piece they have. But it's not really, if you're in the business selling to Japan, like they have to make money too. You can't expect them to make no money or they're not going to come back and buy from you again. Otherwise,
no, exactly.
How are they going to keep going, So you have to be in this sweet spot. We're still technically like in that world, we're technically wholesale if we're selling to say the Japanese because they're going and reselling it.
Yeah,
obviously,
exactly.
When you do the Rose Bowl, you can also sell to like an end user for sure. But, you got to be willing to walk the dance and play the game, right? And I think that's smart because I see too many people, man, that have the same shit hanging in their booth at Rose Bowl, and you're like, "Come on,
I don't.
You've had that for like
that.
6 months,
My kind of business model is sorry to cut you off. I wasn't trying to cut you off, but my business model is I want to make a quick penny over like a slow dime. Like I'm not trying to. I want to make the money quick, move the inventory out, get new shit in, so I can make more money, and I've been doing that for basically 4 or 5 years of me selling at Rose Bowl. Like I've been trying to, I don't want to hold on to anything. Like I do want to get the good money for what's worth good money and maybe kind of like string that out a little bit, try and get top dollar for that stuff. But when it comes to like not the kind of like the lower tier stuff to like the mid tier stuff, I don't want to hold on to any of that. Like I'm trying to like burn it out, get new stuff in, burn it out, get new stuff in. Because I can't hold on to everything. You can't hold on to everything.
Turn and burn, they say,
Turn
man.
and burn. That's
Turn
what I
and
meant.
burn.
Yeah. I don't want to hold on to everything. It's not
fucking
fun.
awesome. And that's exactly why you were able to buy a $76,000 pair of jeans. Which again, we'll talk about that later. But that's fucking a very good point because without turning things into dollars, you don't have capital. And it slows your business down and it stops the energy flow of money, which I think is very important.
Yeah, I think it's always been my business model. I don't want to hold on to anything. I don't want to, because if I were to just ask top dollar on everything, you know how much shit I would still have left over that I wouldn't be able to bring new inventory in. Like I'm trying to bring new inventory in every week, every day, basically, I want Japanese guys to. I don't want Japanese guys to come to my booth or any buyers of that sort to come to my booth and see the same shit that they saw last month. They're not gonna want to shop my shit, and I want to keep them happy. I want to, if they buy shit off me, they're gonna be happy and for a good price. That it's not like top dollar. They don't feel like they're having to pay so much money or like pay the top dollar. They're not gonna feel as inclined to come back and shop with me. The reason that a lot of my buyers, especially Japanese buyers, come back to me every month is because they know that my prices are not killing them and they will be able to make money off it, and that they know that they're not going to have to like pay an arm and a leg for something that's worth an arm and a leg. They can pay maybe just an arm for something that's worth an arm and a leg, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, hell yeah. And it's obviously working out for you, so that's awesome. People should take note of that because, like we said already, there's too many people who are holding out here, So, if you find 90s shit, like, do you even sell it anymore? Like, do you keep it? Do you put it in your booth?
Certain 90s stuff, yeah, I'll throw it out at Rose Bowl. Like, why not? And but I do consign at a shop over here in San Diego, and I just put out a lot of that kind of stuff, like the 80s and 90s stuff I put out on the racks there. So I have like different currents for where I put my stuff. Like the gnarly shit, like the old shit, I like to put out at Rose Bowl, and then maybe a little bit mixed of the 90s and 80s that like I know will sell, I'll put out there.
Yeah.
But like a lot of that stuff, I take it, like the 90s and 80s stuff, I put it in the shop, and I just restock over there.
What's the shop called if people want to go shop in San Diego?
Day to Day Vintage. It's in San Diego. Look it up at Day to Day Vintage. My buddy David owns it. Great dude. We got a couple people consigning there, and it's a mixture of everything. We do have the older stuff there, but me personally, I like to put my 80s, 90s stuff there because that does really well for that kind of clientele and the area that we're in. But yeah, if you guys are ever in the area, go check it out. We've been around, I think, almost 2 years. I'm pretty sure around 2 years now. But it's a great place, great people. It's a beautiful store, honestly, and you guys would. Yeah, anybody that's in the area should go check it out for sure. Really cool spot. I'm not just saying that. I'm not being biased. It's a great looking store.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I think it's cool. It's smart to like segment your shit so that you can focus in on what you want to focus on for like your own sales.
Yeah,
and that business model is interesting to me now. That model of like consignment vintage or the Sam's store up in San Francisco where they have like 10 vendors. It's becoming way more popular, that style of store. So a lot of vintage dealers can now have like a rack or 2 racks in a store, where before that was not the vibe. Like no vintage store wanted to put anybody else's shit in there, right?
Yeah, it's actually cool. It's like a little community inside of like a little space, basically. Like I know you're talking about vacations, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really cool. I've heard about that place. They're doing great, and it's a really cool community. It's like basically like a little community inside their own little space. It's cool, and that's kind of like what we're doing, just like a little couple less vendors. But it's kind of taking the people's different aesthetics and putting them all into one place and making one big like family of everybody's like different like Sam stuff. And I'm not really sure who else sells in there, but I know Sam and probably a lot of other people in there have different kind of like.
Well, I know all I know is Nils and Sam. But yeah,
Nils. Shout out Nils. Nils and Sam. They sell different stuff, and when it all comes into one place, it's a cool look, and people can go in there and buy whatever kind of taste they have. It's there basically.
Yeah, and the way I look at it, like I've thought about doing that too, because the way I look at it is it's hard to get all the right shit all the time, right?
Yeah.
Like picking is the hardest part to fill your store exactly what people want all the time. But if you have vendors, then you have more people picking it. They're out there filling the store with exactly what the people want, so you get a better selection typically, and it draws more people, and they're all promoting it as well, so it adds more like marketing power to the whole project. A lot of benefits to it. So I want to change here and jump into picking bandos.
Okay.
I know you started this with a crew in your area. I don't know the crew exactly. The only one I really know is I Got Polo.
Anthony. Shout out Anthony. Shout out Anthony. Also shout out.
You want to shout out your other homies?
Yeah, I will. I have to. Christian, my buddy Christian, who's actually my roommate. He's in the room next door, actually. Vintage Files.
Nice.
Go follow him. And then my other buddy, Little Chris, we call him, Neglected Garments. That was the first little three crew that we had, I went out with them, and then we also went out with Polo once, but we don't really go out with Polo. We didn't really, in that span of time, we weren't really going out with Polo, but we did go out with him once, and he's a great picker. He's a great dude. He's awesome. He's been doing this for a long time, and I got a lot of respect for Polo for sure.
Yeah, he's got great stories. If you ever could go meet him at a flea market or something and get a couple stories out of him, it's like it'll make your day for sure.
For sure.
So tell us like your first experience with this, man. I want to know like how it went down and then probably like how your fucking mind got blown. But yeah, do you remember that first time?
With I kind of do. This was like beginning. So the reason we started doing this, it was the beginning of COVID. Everything was closed down. All the thrift stores were closed down. No, you couldn't pick anywhere. And me and my buddies we've been picking for like every day, and then all of a sudden gone, like nowhere else to pick. So it's like we were fiending to go find some cool shit. And we were like, we don't know what to do. And I think I'm guessing at the time, I can't completely remember, but I'm guessing at the time we probably saw Anthony doing it, or maybe other people on Instagram, because before Anthony, there was tons of people doing this stuff. Like back in even the 80s and 90s, people were picking houses and finding clothes. It just wasn't really documented. So, but at this time, there wasn't a lot of people in California. I feel like there was. We are definitely not the first. I don't think we can't even say we're even close to the first. But at the time, we were like fiending to find some cool shit. So basically, we kind of like mapped out spots and we just hit the road. And I don't think we found shit that day, but we might have found a couple things. I do remember one thing I found. There's a video of me. I found a Grateful Dead shirt in the bathtub of an abandoned RV out on the side of the road. And I was freaking out about that. It's crazy that I was freaking out, and it was probably fucking rotted and molded. But at the time, I was freaking out insanely about this stupid Grateful Dead shirt because I was like, holy shit, like, I'm not in the thrift store. I'm not at the bins. I'm finding shit out in the fucking desert, finding them on the side of the road. Like, this is crazy. Like, who would have thought? And I do remember that very clearly, finding that Grateful Dead shirt. That was pretty cool. But I think we found some stuff that day, and it was just that I remember that first day we were like after that first day, we were like, oh, this is sick. Like, we got to go back out. We got to do this again. Like, we knew that wasn't going to be our last time doing it. So, yeah, I think from there, I think we started going every single week we would make a trip, or maybe every other week we would make a trip, and we would start going farther and farther, and we started finding more and more stuff. And then also want to shout out my buddy Matt, Burn Pit Vintage. He's over in Buffalo, New York right now, I think, but he's from Indiana, and we used to hit some trips with him during COVID, and that man is a fucking monster. And shout out that dude. He's been doing the bando shit for a long time too, way before us. And he's found some crazy shit. So shout out Matt. And he's definitely like big dude. He was the muscle of the organization. He could kick outdoors. He can pull fucking beds up, everything. Matt was the fucking man. So shout out Matt. That's awesome.
So I see like in California anyway, it's a lot of fucking trailers. Like, it looks like meth dens to me, but I don't really know.
Were.
Like, they were. So you're going in these like old meth dens where obviously there's inherent dangers there, and it's like a lot of like, it's fucking dirty, gross. It's potentially like rotted and mold in those places. You potentially have like chemicals from old drug things going on in there. And in my brain, meth is like a newer drug. Like, was there a lot of like meth being made back in like the 80s and 90s, and these trailers were abandoned all the way back then?
I'm not saying every single trailer was maybe like a meth station, but I'm saying we've probably been in some that look like there's something going on there. And a lot of these houses that we've been inside looks like they could have been some tweaker little station that a lot of these guys who didn't have homes would just go and sleep at. Thank God they weren't in there when we went in there. But if there was, you can see how like the setup of the place is, that it's like somebody used to live here and they did not own the property. They did not pay for this property, but they were there. Just the way the setup is. And you see it a lot.
And so you're like, when you find a place like that, you're finding stuff from that person, but then you're also finding. Sorry, did you just hear clapping?
No,
Oh, weird.
it's the meth dealers. They're coming to haunt us. I'm just kidding.
So weird. I just heard clapping in my earphones. So you're finding stuff from that person who squatted there, but then also stuff from potentially the original owners of the house, right?
Yeah, and what's even crazier is that you could still find old shit that the squatters had when they were squatting there, and then you find even older shit from the stuff that people that actually lived there, which is fucking insane.
So I have a guest question. It was from the real. Oh, this is funny. The real amethyst rock star. Oh, I thought it said meth in there, but it's actually the real amethyst rock star.
Okay.
They wrote, how do you make Bando Connects? Do you know these people personally? I know the answer to this, but you can tell.
Well, here's the thing. There is times where we do door knockings. I don't like to get too crazy into the bando stuff because I'm not, trying to criminalize ourselves, but you know what I mean?
Of course.
Criminating ourselves. But there are times when we do, knock on doors and talk to these people, and there's good shit that comes out of it. But when you see a fucking house that's a mile into the desert with nothing around, you don't know the person that owns it, really, to be honest, but it hasn't been touched in, who knows, maybe 70, 80 years. Nobody's coming back to that place. I don't think it's too crazy to say that you can go in there and maybe grab a couple pairs of jeans.
And if they do come back to that place, they're coming back with a dumpster, and they're going to put it all in a freaking blue bin and take it to the dump. So it's kind of like this fashion archaeology that you're like saving these things that, for all better purposes will be going to the dump. But there's obviously two sides to the story.
Yeah.
I have another guest question from GS Vintage and Stuff.
Oh, that's my buddy in San Diego.
Okay, what's the sketchiest thing that's happened while picking a bando?
Man, let me think. I think recently, actually, well, there's a couple stories. So I'll start with actually recently when I went out of state with my buddy Seth, Skybox Vintage. Shout out him. He's also really great. I'm gonna do a lot of shout outs hopefully throughout this whole thing to give everybody the props. But we were at a house, and I had it on my story. It looks fucking wild, but how it was basically, it was a 2-story house, and on the second story it's a room, but it had no floor and just beams of wood that did not look stable. Like, how like beams of, like, under the floors, there's always beams of wood that like are like in a cross section. And on the other side of the room, you see a closet filled with clothes. Well, there's absolutely no floor. You just have to walk on these beams that don't look stable.
Speaking of unstable beams.
Man, there's dude, the meth dealers are coming back. I swear to God. This is crazy. Sorry.
Fuck.
We're still good.
No, it's all good.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's just going to make the interview more interesting. It's okay. So basically we had, when you see like a 10, like maybe a 20-foot gap between a floor you're standing on and a closet filled with clothes with only like shitty wooden beams going to it that you have to basically tightrope across, but you want to get to that clothes and there's no other way to get to it, that gets pretty sketchy because these beams have been sitting there for, some of these houses are from early 1900s, so the wood cannot be that stable, but if you want to get to the clothes, you gotta do shit like that. And I remember a story a long time ago also, when we got to the closet, it didn't have shit, so there's the end of that story.
And nobody fell off the beam.
Nobody fell off the beam. I had a video going just in case something would happen, but nobody fell off the beam. Another story was when I was hitting it with my buddy Christian, little Chris, shout out to them again, over in the desert where we ran into like a really crazy beehive in a house. And it fucking chased us all the way to the car, and we got bees in the car, and they were fucking, my buddy got like stung in the face, we got stung, and that was pretty fucking shitty, and we were pissed because we also
didn't find anything gnarly in that spot. Because if you get pinned down by a swarm, you can die if you get enough bites.
100%.
Like, that shit'll put you into shock.
Yeah, it was and we didn't find shit at the house. So there was no point in even going in. So that's always the worst too.
What's your percentage like if of houses that come up empty?
They're in different areas. It's different for the areas that I go to. Like this recent trip I just went on, you guys probably saw it where we found the afterhood and stuff. That's actually just what fell down over there. But
oh, sick.
I
thought you would have sold that. Nobody came up on the offers, eh?
We did have.
Or are you trying to keep it?
We did have an offer,
okay.
But unfortunately the guy backed out, so that didn't help too much. And after he gave us a really great offer, he backed out. We don't have to get into it because we're still trying to talk to somebody right now. I don't need to say any names, but we're trying to talk to somebody right now about a little deal that we're going that we've been talking to since we found it the first day. So we're gonna see where that goes. Hopefully in the next couple weeks we'll get it to that person. But and you'll probably see who we get it to when it happens.
So question, like that was obviously a big score. Afterhoods are pretty sought after, pretty rare. And to me, they're just cool garments that people like us can appreciate because we like see a lot of things you find that have value, like maybe like a pair of Gap pants. You're like, this is rad. I know it's going to be worth money, but you're like not that hyped on it. But Afterhood, you get like, for me, I get fucking hyped on it.
Oh,
you know?
I was shaking when I pulled it out of that trash bag. You could probably see in the video. My hands were like, it was insane.
I can imagine, dude. That's so sick.
I can tell the story about that one if you want me to.
Yeah, tell the story.
Okay, because I don't know if a lot of people know about it, but so basically, me and my buddy were hitting houses, Seth Skybox, and it was getting late. It was like 4 or 5 o'clock. The sun was going down, and we're like, okay, we saw this house on like a mile off the road, and we're like, okay. So, and we were on our way to another spot, and we're like, okay, so we're going to hit this house off the side of the road, and then we're going to go to that other house, and call it a day, and we're done, because the sun was going down. We're like, we have to get back. It's getting really late. And so we stopped, walked a mile over down the road to this house, and we get in, and it's a fucking old house. It's a really old house. The house is really old. I would say maybe 1920s or so. So,
are you getting good after all this by like to date architecture and date houses?
Kind of. I like dating the houses. Like when I see houses outside the road, I'm like, oh, that looks 40s, looks 50. I might be fucking wrong. I'm just guessing, but I like to try.
That's cool though.
I like to try.
Yeah.
So, we've gone to this house. We could tell it was really old. The architecture inside was really old. Like the wood old, the floor oldish. Everything was old, and it was actually one of the biggest houses I've ever been in for like abandoned houses, and maybe ever actually. It was a fucking massive house, like 3 stories, like probably 15 rooms in this house. It was insane.
Wow.
Yeah, it seemed like there was more and more rooms. Like it went forever. We kept on finding rooms that we had no idea about, and so we were on this first floor. We were finding a couple of things, nothing super crazy, maybe like stuff from like the 60s and stuff. And there would just be like there was a lot of remnants of clothes, but not actual clothes, like scraps and stuff that we would find.
Yeah.
And we were going to this house. We were finding cool shit, but nothing that was like super wow, you know? And then we get up to the third room, or third floor. It's the third floor. We're checking the third floor, looking through all the rooms, still not finding anything. And I swear, this is the last floor of the house, in the last room that we checked. There is a trash bag sitting in the middle of the fucking room. Black trash bag that looks like it's been sitting there for a pretty long time. And I see like some blue sweatshirt material on top, like hanging out on top. And I'm like, this looks like it could be like a sweat of some sort. And I'm like, yo, Seth, come here. Like, this looks like it'd be like, it was probably a lot more intense at the time. I was like, Seth, come here. Like there's something, like there's something, and this is something. Like, I know this is something. And he was like, what? Like, I was like, dude, there's like some sort of like sweatshirt thing in this bag. Like the bag was open and it was flattened in like as if it had been pushed down into the bag. But the bag was still open. It was like folded, pushed, you know, like as if like totally. It was it was pushed into a bale. You know what I mean? You've probably seen that. So I was like, Seth, come here. Like, there's something in this bag. And he was like, what? And then as I lifted like a little piece of the thing, and I look and I see the fucking afterhood on the thing right here, and I put it down. And I was like, Seth, I look at him, I'm like, Seth, it's an afterhood, and he's like, dude, you're fucking with me. Shut the fuck up. Like, you're bullshitting me. He didn't believe me at all, like at all, and you can hear in the video. And then so what happened was I was like, all right, we need to get this on video. Like, this is not gonna happen ever again. I need to get this on video. We need to document this, because who knows what we're gonna pull out right now. Because all I saw was that it was an afterhood. I'm like, I didn't see any prints on it. I didn't see any details on it. I just saw the hood connected to the sweatshirt. That's all I saw, and I was like, oh shit. And he didn't believe me. So if you watch the video, you could see me pulling it out and going, I'm not even fucking joking, Seth. And I pull out the fucking afterhood, and we just start freaking the fuck out. And then we end the video, and we just start hugging, and we're like, dude, what the fuck? Like, we just found a fucking afterhood. This is after we'd already had a really great day. I'm not gonna lie. Like, we had already found great dead stock 70s red lines, bunch of early 1900s clothes. Like, we were already stoked on the day. So we were still not expecting. Like, we're like, okay, we had a good day. We're probably not gonna find much at the end. And then this fucking happens, and we're like, almost on the verge of crying how happy and in shock we are, you know. And it was probably one of the best moments I've ever had in a house. Like, probably one of the most insane moments I've ever had. We found some crazy shit. Like, you probably saw the 20s, 30s black Levi's. That was a pretty crazy find. But I think that just this one, just the way we found it, I don't know why, we just topped it. And the rest of the bag was fucking 80s clothes, which is even more insane.
Are you serious? The rest of it was 80s? The rest of
the bag was 80s and one pair of USN, the USN sweatpants. The rest of the bag was fucking 80s.
That's crazy.
It's almost unbelievable, but that's what happened.
And I think about that. I'm like, they probably cleaned out the house, and that was one bag they just forgot to throw in the dumpster or some shit, right? Because it's sitting in a garbage bag already.
What else did that house have in it when it was not super cleaned out?
Yeah.
I can't even imagine. I don't really want to know.
Sounds like
a
mansion, man.
No, yeah.
So I was watching along when you were on that trip, and I was calling Jesse. I'm like, yo, this fucking guy just found the fucking afterhood. What the hell? This is crazy. And then I saw you loaded your car at least 2 times full from that trip, right?
I probably more 4 or 5 times.
Yeah, that's crazy, the amount of shit you got on that trip. So fruitful.
Too much to even
so
ship
rad
back,
to watch.
Yeah, it was. I'm going back soon. That's all I'm going to say. So be on the lookout.
That's fucking so sick. Congrats on that one. I want to know, what was your number one denim score? Or maybe not on that trip, but of all time that you found digging.
Let me think. We found in a bando with my buddy. I can't remember. This is a minute ago. I wish I still I have these videos still, and maybe you could add a clip of it of us pulling them if I can find it. But it was with my buddy Christian, Lil Chris, and Matt, the dude I told you about, Burn Pit, and we found a pair. I think they were a pair of the green pocket flap Levi's, the World War II ones. You know which ones I'm talking about?
Yeah.
We found one of those in the dirt, in a pile of dirt behind a fucking sofa in a house without a roof, basically.
Yeah, I think I saw that video too, where it was the floor was gone and it's all just dirt in some trailer, or was that a house?
I think it was a house. I can't, dude. It's been a minute since that happened, but I do remember finding those jerkies. They were pretty fucking crazy. Jerky tab with the green pocket flap. Only time I've ever really found those, and I feel like you can barely even see those ever. Those are really early.
To be honest,
really
I can't even remember if me and Jesse have ever even had a pair. If we did, it was so long ago that I didn't even book it, and I probably
talk about unselling, underselling. I'm just kidding. We probably undersold those too, to be honest. But I mean, also, I don't know if I ever talked about the black Levi's one. They're the. Did I ever talk about those on here?
No, you told me a different time, but let's tell the story here.
Okay, so me and my buddies. I was with a couple of my buddies, including Christian and Chris, and we were on our we had gotten Airbnb up in Humboldt, and just with the homies, just like having fun. And so we were on our way back from Humboldt, driving through like a very foresty area. I can't even remember, and even if I did, I wouldn't tell you. Like a little foresty area, and we saw like a little house off the side of the road. And my buddy was like, "Oh, like none of us saw it." And one of my buddies saw it, and he was like, "Oh, that looks old. Like we should go check that out." And we were like, we don't know. And we're like, "Okay, fuck it, we're gonna go." Turned back around, went to this house, and so we were going through the house, and as soon as we got in, we started noticing that there was calendars from like early 1900s, books from like late 1800s in this house. Like there was old shit. And so we went up to the top floor, and there was a little attic connected to this room in the top floor. Little door, we opened it up. My buddy went in, pulled out a chest, like an old fucking chest behind like a little like couch or something in the attic. Very tiny attic too, really small, like half of my room size attic. And he pulls out this chest. There's a fucking old ass quilt in this chest, probably 20s, 30s quilt, beautiful quilt, like beautiful condition. He was like, "Oh," we're like, "Oh, this is fucking nice, great quilt." And I was like, "Dude, there's another chest behind there. Let's pull that one out. Let's see what's in there." And so we moved the other chest out of the way. I went back there, pulled the chest out, and I opened the chest, and the only thing in this chest is scraps of newspaper, and I swear on everything, one item of clothing. I cannot make this up. You can confirm with everybody else that I was with. It's pretty unbelievable when I say it now. One item of clothing, pull it out. I was like, "Oh shit, it's like, these are old black pants. Like they seem pretty old." I'm like, "Oh, they're donut hole buttons." And I was like, "Wait, dude, these are fucking Levi's. They say Levi, Strauss & Co. on the fucking buttons." Never seen this before. And we were like, and we're like 4 or 5 dudes in this little attic. We're all tripping out, freaking the fuck out. We're like, "Dude, what the fuck?" Like never seen, like we didn't know what we had found, but we knew that they were like old and they had to have been worth something crazy. So that was pretty crazy. And we ended up selling those to Verbergen. And you've seen them on their page. They cleaned them up real nice. They're going to sell them for so much more. So good for them. That's
awesome. Yeah, it's funny, like in the vintage world, color is very important. You know, obviously that's like a rare pant, but
black.
A lot of things in black, like it's more rare to find, especially back from that time period.
Oh yeah.
Like even like 70s black jackets, you know, It's like you see like 1 to 500 blue. So it's like they're worth way more. Black, like clicker jackets or all these things in black. It's like it ups the value for sure.
Japanese guys love anything black. It's crazy. Like if those pants are white, they wouldn't probably have not even been worth half the value. Because there isn't white model of those pants. So.
And that's kind of typical for fashion now. Like if you look at what sells in a retail store, it's like black is 10 to 1 always.
Oh yeah.
In sales. So it's just the way
I personally like
go.
black over white. I mean, I'm wearing white right now, but I like black so much more than white.
That's fucking rad. So besides clothing finds, tell us some like wild experiences, like animals or potentially running into people or other things that have happened on these adventures.
Let me think. So there's been times where we've been chased out of, like, by stray dogs. Stray dogs will just fucking chase us out of like houses that we're in, and that's pretty scary when they're pretty big dogs and they look pretty rabid. Let me try and think. It's never fun to see like dead animals in houses, like rotten dead animals. That's never fun. It's the skulls. Like, I'm sorry if this is too much, but like skeletons of animals, it's pretty gnarly.
Go for it.
It's pretty scary. And then fucking scorpions and shit when you're in the desert. I hate scorpions and snakes so fucking much. Don't like them. And
do you ever see rattlesnakes and shit?
Yeah, not in houses that we've been in, but maybe just off the side of the road and stuff. But we've been in houses with scorpions. So what's your kit?
Yes, and scorpions they have venom, don't they? If they sting you,
I don't care. I don't want to be close to them either way. I don't like that. I don't like them.
What's your kit? Like, what tools and equipment do you have typically going on these trips?
You always gotta have gloves. Nice thick pair of gloves. People say that you should have those. What are those N94? What are the big masks? I don't use those.
Yeah,
I feel like they're too. I don't like them. I just throw a bandana on, and always nice to have some really like nice like double knee pants, like nice shit because
you're getting on your knees and you're like crawling around.
You're
for sure.
in the dirt digging like a dog. It's fucking especially in the desert. There's everything's covered in dirt. Everything's covered in dust. We pulled some of our best shit out of like the deep depths of like 5 feet of shit all the way at the bottom will be where the best shit is. You know? Let me think.
Quick word from our sponsor. The Vintage and Stuff podcast is brought to you by BidStitch and Easy. Okay, guys? BidStitch has teamed up with Easy. It is a live selling platform. You can get on there. You can sell your gear. It's picking up a lot of steam. We're getting a lot more action on the app. So go get yourself an Easy account. It's EZZE. Download it, tune in, buy vintage, sell vintage, have a good time. But I have a special announcement today. BidStitch is launching its first ever flea, the BidStitch flea in Pasadena on March 4th. If you want to learn all about that, there's going to be a link down below for vendor signups and for more information. If you want to be a vendor at the BidStitch flea in Pasadena, California, March 4th, click down below. Otherwise, we want to see you there, and we want you to come shop and have a great time. So the BidStitch flea is going down March 4th. Link down below for all the info you're going to need. See you guys there. Another question I had is that you're saying you're digging this shit out of the dirt. You know, obviously this stuff's dirtier than your normal stuff you're going to find or donated clothing. So you must have some pretty, like, you got to go wash all this shit and try to, like, bring some of this stuff back to life, right?
Yeah, there's been too many times where we've tried to clean a lot of good Levi's that they're just no more. They just this whole California weather of rain and then heat and rain and sun and all this and all causes so much mold, causes so much dry rot in the clothes. The sun fades. The sun fade turns into just where it's just worse than dry rot almost. It's like rips easier than paper. So that's always really shitty when that happens in these houses where we pull some crazy shit, but like at first it looks good, but there's no way you could like it's salvageable.
It just disintegrates when you try to wash it. Like
basically, like it falls apart completely. But you got to wash basically everything. Unless it's like there's certain things where it's like there's Levi's where we have pulled and they're good, but you really can't clean them anymore to where they're good the way they are. You gotta leave them the way they are, or they're gonna get fucked if you do any cleaning. So you let the next person deal with that when you sell it to them.
It's funny. Some people, there's obviously different styles and trends, and obviously workwear looks cool when it's fucked up and dirty, right? Like that's part of the aesthetic of it. But then there's people that are like, this is not washed, whatever. We don't really wash a lot of that stuff ever. I wash things that go into my store and stuff like that. But yeah, like that, all that wear shows character, so some of the things should just be fucking left alone.
Yeah. And there's for sure. Unless you really you can really just be very like fragile with it. You gotta just hand wash certain things if you want to make it, because there are some stuff that's like really gnarly stained and like it's really going to be hard to sell unless you get the stains out. But the rest of the garment is great. So there's those times where you just got to like hand wash stuff or soak it in oxy. But even oxy can fuck shit up sometimes. And like there's been way too many times where shit just disintegrates, turns into nothing when you put it in oxy because it's been sitting under a pile of dirt for fucking 60, 70 years and hasn't been touched in forever. But once it hits water for the first time or hits some sort of mixture, it's gonna fucking get destroyed. So you don't really know what's gonna happen when you put it in that oxy bucket, but you're just hoping for the best.
Yeah, totally. Let's talk about Durango and the Levi's purchase. So, that was a big moment for you, spending a ton of money on a pair of jeans. You and your friend Zip went in on them together. First of all, give us your take on the whole Durango fest.
Durango's sick. Durango was sick. It's definitely is like something that happened that I'm never gonna forget for the rest of my life. And I think a lot of other people would agree with me that was probably the fucking craziest thing they've ever been to. Like it was like it wasn't even like we were selling clothes at one point. Like it wasn't like that's not even why we were there. It was part of it, but it's like you almost forget with all this other shit going on that like we're here to like sell clothes and whatever. But it was like literally the best of everything, and sometimes the worst of everything. Good vibes. There was some crazy shit. Getting to know everybody, and it's like
So like what? What crazy shit?
I mean, you know about the fucking denim Olympics. That shit was crazy. The fucking pile.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I didn't even really participate in denim Olympics. I don't know what I was doing. Probably still buying shit, but
the pile was crazy. That went off, and that was like went off more than I expected. Insane. It was such a spectacle to behold. People were just going crazy, and I think what was that one guy's name that got the bucklebacks in the end?
Oh, Monday Market Vintage.
Monday Market got the bucklebacks.
Shout out to him.
Hyped.
That food was sick.
He was a beast. And there's that other guy, Roots of Indigo, I think his name is, out of New York. He was the first one to go in. It's actually funny. Shout out Roots of Indigo. He came up to me at that event, and he's a model. I don't know if you knew that.
Yeah, we follow each other on Instagram now. Yeah.
And my high school buddy, Ari, is his agent.
That's fucking crazy.
Like, actually found... So my high school buddy, Ari, who I keep in touch with, actually found him and, was like, do you want to be a model? And he's his agent and got him started. So he came up to me and was like, yeah, I know your buddy. Super random.
That's sick.
But he was the first one in there going crazy. I think they underestimated the amount of work it was going to be to like pull all that shit out of the plastic.
It was like, I think it was pissing me off sometimes where people were just like nitpicking shit. And it's like, dude, like, I don't know if you've ever been to like, people know about how estate sales work, but when you see a whole box of shit, you don't nitpick it. You grab the whole fucking box and you take it. Like, you don't do no nitpicking. That's how it should have, like, and I don't think they realized that at first, but then after time, people were like, dude, grab the whole fucking box. And I think that's when they started to be like, oh shit, like, I need to, I'm like, oh shit,
step up the game.
Step up and just start grabbing everything I see and just throw it in the pile, because that's what the other guys were doing.
So, the auctions, we watched the auctions every night. They kind of like got better and better throughout the weekend, right? There was like three nights of auctions. I missed the first one, but
there was a Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night. Yeah, there was an extra night. Well, the event didn't start till Friday, but they did an auction on Thursday night where they just had people throw in shit and just auction it, which was pretty cool. I got there Thursday night, but I got too drunk and I didn't participate in the auction. So,
did you put anything in any of the auctions?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
I probably should have, but I didn't. It's okay.
So going into that auction for the 1800s Levi's, did you have any anticipation that you were gonna bid on them? Like, did you even think you were gonna go in and bid on these jeans when the auction started?
No, I didn't. I think it was probably like once. It's crazy to think about, but even like, it wasn't until they'd gone to like maybe like 55 or, because didn't Sam throw down to 50,000 or something like that?
Yeah, it was like 50 or 60 that he got the peer pressured into like coming up on that bid. Yeah, everyone was like hyping him up.
Sam is such a G. I love that dude. But
hell yeah,
it wasn't until like after that I think I was like, I kind of want to bid on these jeans. So yeah, and Zip was sitting right in front of me, and I was like, I feel like these should be going for more right now. I was like, I feel like we're not in an environment where these can reach maximum value. And I don't know if you heard, but apparently the online system stopped working, so the online bidders couldn't bid, which helped our case for sure, because I think somebody bid higher than, I think somebody bid 80,000 online, but it never even went through to the auction house.
No way.
Yeah, that's what I heard. I'm not sure if it's true, but apparently that's what happened. And like everybody that was bidding online was, none of their bids were going through, and so it was basically just the people in that room, which is honestly pretty rad. People that were just in that room were going against each other, so that was cool.
So for people that don't know, this auction's been talked about a lot, but can you describe these jeans to everybody?
So they're 1880s Levi's, from 1880s Levi's, and they're bucklebacks, one pocket with the cloth patch on the back. I haven't even looked at them in a long time, to be honest. But they have.
And do you remember like the provenance of like where they came from?
of mine. I think I forgot the guy's name. Who is Mike something?
It's Britt's buddy that found them, and then Britt bought them off.
Yeah, Britt bought them off him. I'm not sure how much he paid.
He's the guy that has the book called like Denim of the Old West or something, right?
I forgot his name. I'm sorry, I'm forgetting his last name, but shout out to him.
We'll get his name and put it on the screen. Yeah.
Highest respect to that guy for finding those fucking jeans. They're insane. And all the people that dig in the mines and find those, that's fucking insane. Whole another league than fucking bando picking, because that shit's way scarier. I don't think I would ever really do that. I think I might have too much claustrophobia for that. So much respect to the people that hit the mines and pull out crazy shit like that, but they do pull out some crazy shit. And so yeah, Britt bought him off him and then put him in the auction, and we got him.
Yeah, and they went for $76,000.
$76,000.
You and Zip were the winners. You were 90%. Zip was 10. Correct?
Yes.
So, I want to ask about that too. Like, did your friendship with Zip start? Obviously, you've met him at the Rose Bowl and other events and shit like that. Like, seems like you guys are like reasonably close if you're buying these things together. So how is that friendship like materialized?
So it's how I met Zip just through selling at flea markets, as I do a lot of my buyers, a lot of my close like friends now. And he would just buy shit off me, like, you know, just like denim. They call him the denim doctor. So he'd buy all the denim, buy whatever he had clientele for, and then I don't know. I think I would see him around and talk to him a lot. Every time I see him, just talk about just random, just day-to-day shit, or just like random stuff, just like about our lives and stuff. And then at the time of Durango, we weren't like crazy close, I feel like, but we were close enough to where I felt comfortable putting in the money with him. But now we've definitely grown a lot closer, and I'll go every weekend whenever I go to LA. I'll try and stop by the shop and hang out with him, and we'll just talk about what we've got going on, what we want to do with the jeans like this year. We talk about where we want to take them, and I want to mention that we might have them. We're in the talks of like trying to get maybe a booth at Inspiration and bringing them out there. So maybe for display. So I'm not sure if that's going to happen, but we've been talking about that. So, and there's some other stuff in the future that we have planned for these, but you'll see what happens.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, I've known Zip for a long time too. Same deal, just buying from us for years and years and years as Rose Bowl. The denim doctor business he has, where he obviously sells denim, but he does like really high end repairs on denim.
I've gotten some good repairs from him too.
Yeah, you can take your jeans there. If you have like this pair of jeans that you love, vintage pair, even a new pair, I think he'll do.
No, yeah, anything.
If you just love a pair of jeans, he'll make you the best repair that you won't even be able to tell it's there, or like any style that you want, really. Yeah. Super cool business. He also has this business called Hollywood Trading that's like leather goods, leather manufacturing, like studded belts and wallets and bags and stuff, right?
Have you heard about how they're about to do a collaboration with Supreme? I'm not sure if you saw that, but that's fucking crazy.
he sent me that, which I thought was really cool.
So
shout out him for doing
crazy. Like that's big, I think.
Yeah, it's great for him, and we know that like Supreme references so much vintage for all their stuff, mostly like 90s and 2000s, but this is another cool way that like the vintage world is like infiltrating Supreme with him doing this collab. And he sent me the pictures. They're like, it's I think it's belts. I think it's like a keychain, a leather keychain, and like a leather wallet, right?
The wallet is what I want. The wallets are fucking. I like the animal kind of print stuff. I think they're doing like a cow print and like I forgot what the other ones are, but that little like animal kind of print stuff, I think is gonna look really sick with the studs. So you guys should go check it out if you haven't seen it.
Yeah. So shout out Zip. And congrats to you for doing that. That was a crazy move. I imagine bidding on those jeans was very nerve-wracking and exciting and adrenaline and all the feelings.
Sometimes you just got to sack up and do it if you want. You know, you just got to. Like you got that. That's kind of like what I felt in the moment. You just got to, you know, if you fucking want to put your name out there too. There's so many things, like we're buying the jeans, but there's so many things that's going along with this purchase of the jeans. It's like, we're not just spending that money. It's not going just towards the jeans, but it's going towards PR, marketing, all this other shit that comes along with it. Gets me more clientele, which helps me make more money and sell more shit. it's an investment in a lot of separate things, not just the jeans. You know, putting my name in Wall Street Journal is
Carpe
fucking cool.
diem, seize the day.
Yeah, exactly.
I fucking love it. It's smart. It's we talk about this, and I might probably talked about this with you, but you just bought the ultimate chum. We called chum the cool things you hang on your Rose Bowl booth. You know what I mean? Like you bought the ultimate chum for the world that like brings people into your business.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
You know?
It's the chum for my Instagram, chum for my name, chum for everything. Yeah, chum. I'm gonna start using that now. I like that.
Like throwing it in the water for the sharks, man. It's the fucking chum. And you have the ultimate chum of anybody. So congrats on that. Super rad.
Thank you. Yeah.
And it's good for you for seeing that, because a lot of people wouldn't have seen that, and they just look at it value to value, dollars to dollars, right?
If you look at the Instagram comments are fucking insane how extensive they are for everybody's fucking opinion on what they think about these jeans. And it's like they're only thinking about, oh, these jeans are not worth this much, or like people are like it's so. You probably have read some of them. It's like $76,000 for a pair of jeans. Like my grandpa owns a pair of these. Like, bro, shut the fuck up. People don't know what they are. They don't know significance of what these jeans fucking are, and like how important they are to the history of denim and everything else that goes along with it. Like it's funny to see people from an outside perspective. I mean, there's been times where I want to say something back, but I haven't. So.
Yeah, don't engage with trolls.
I haven't.
It's Levi's started the vintage game. Levi's will always be the dominating brand of the vintage world.
Yeah,
it's just never going to change, right? It's never going to change. So like that's an artifact. It's a piece of history. It's like the ultimate piece of fashion history. So I don't think you can look at it for dollars to dollars. You know, it's crazy too that posting those jeans, like that's the most viral my account ever went, because I posted just
that.
the reel.
You guys went fucking crazy.
I was like, holy fuck. And then I was getting hit up by fucking, like, I got hit up by Complex to repost. They reposted it. I got hit up by fucking Fox News, dude. They hit me up and were like, can we use this clip? I'm like, yeah, as long as you give us credit. Like, and then all these other fucking random fashion accounts were using it. Like, that clip went crazy because it's like the shock value of it.
It worked out for all of us, dude. It's awesome. I'm glad you guys got some shit out of it too. That's fucking amazing. And you guys were the ones that were there and did all the fucking filming and did the interviews, and you guys put in the work, and it paid off, and that's fucking sick.
Yeah, exactly, for sure. That was cool, man. That was super fun, and I think that event, you know, it allowed like I just had a fun time. Like you were saying, it was like an experience you won't probably have again. Got to hang out with all these people that I only ever see in like a business setting.
Yeah.
And then you finally get to just chill with them, and like it's like, whoa, I don't have to rush this, or don't have to like try to sell you something right now. I'm just here to like hang out and
just post up,
have fun,
drink and smoke. It's sick. And you got like Eric Junkyard. Didn't he go off the fucking slide?
Yeah, he sent it, man.
That? Hey, shout out Junkyard Jeans, Eric. When the fuck are you ever gonna see Eric go off a fucking slip and slide? That's what Durango is right there. That's what Durango is.
We're gonna put a clip of that on the screen so everyone can see it, because it was fucking rad. So another topic I kind of want to touch on. So now you're like your business has evolved. You know, we talked about the beginnings of thrifting, and then the bins, and then it was 90s stuff, and now it's $76,000 Levi. So you know, you obviously have to. Transition is super crazy. And we're seeing like a movement of people into true vintage, which is rad, because it helps the values, but it also keeps events like Inspiration or LA Rendezvous like going. Yeah. Because for a moment, I feel like there was some stagnation in like that world, you know, maybe like 5 years ago or so. Obviously, there's always trends within true vintage too, just like there is with like every other fashion sector, right? Like, certain things are up, certain things are down. But one question I want to touch on first was, when you're buying from people, do you set like a margin value that you need to hit? Like, say you find a pair of denim and you're like, okay, if I'm going to buy it, I got to double my money, or I got to triple my money, or I got to make a percentage. Like, how do you look at that when you're out buying things? Because now you're playing with more money, more capital, more risk.
Yeah. I think for a long time, I've been wanting, like I'd say maybe up until like 6 months ago, I was just buying anything I could make money on, like literally anything I could make money on. Like then that like I'm like, oh, I can make
So
$20 on this.
if you spend 200 and you can make 100, you're good with that.
Spend 200
Like,
and make $50. I don't give a shit. I'll buy it.
Okay,
if I knew
okay.
I could buy it and I could make money on it for sure, I'll buy it. I'll buy something. I was buying even 90 shit. I'll buy if I knew that I could make. I'm just getting low on battery. If I knew I could make a little bit of money on anything, like if I got something for $15 off somebody, and I'm like, this is for sure worth at least 30, I'll buy it. I don't give a shit. I'll make $15, $15 100 times. That shit adds up, and you're making money. People always want to go for crazy shit, which I am a little bit trying to do now. Is trying to like be more selective about what I buy, like more high end stuff, or stuff that I can that people would want to see in my booth that I know I could sell to like either a Japanese buyer or I already know I have for sure clientele on it. I'll buy it. I'll be more inclined to buy that stuff and skip over the other stuff. But I have no problem buying something for 200 and making 250. But always the plan is to make, like I just bought a pair of really nice late 40s Levi's. I paid $850 and I sold them for $3,500. So you sometimes get stuff like that where it's like that don't happen often, but when you have that, you're able to do like buy for 200, sell 250. It's okay. It all adds up. It's all money that you're making. It's all adding up, and it's all gonna give you more capital and buy more shit. You just can't be scared to do it. But I understand why people would be a little bit thrown off to do it if they're don't have as much capital. I'm not saying I'm fucking rich as shit. I'm saying I'm comfortable with spending 200 to make 250, 300. I don't need to make crazy margins on certain things because that's still money for me.
And how do you stay current on price trends? Because price trends fluctuate so quick, man. It's like it's hard for me to stay up on it. How do you do you just like have it all up in your head, like this is, I think I can double triple this one and I'm gonna go for it? Like, how do you stay up on it?
I don't know. Sometimes I'll just buy something and hold on to it, and then we just wait till it goes up, and then I'll sell it. Or you're right, dude. Price trends are getting pretty crazy with like a pair of like mohair. Mohair is a really good example because about 2 months ago, mohair was fucking insane. 2 months to like a month ago, mohair was fucking insane. All the Japanese wanted them. They couldn't even stand your racks for more than 30 minutes if you brought them out of Rose Bowl. And now shit's going down, and now it's hard to sell them for like 250, 300. Like people like I've seen people bring whole racks of shit out to Rose Bowl, a bunch of mohair, and barely any of it sells. So shit like that is a good example, and it's always.
What do you think that's because that was seasonal, like that they all wanted it for fall? And
that's very possible, but it's just funny how a lot of our prices are reflected by how Japanese sell their stuff. Like if the price in Japan goes down, the price in US goes down, unless you want to sell it to another US buyer, which is possible. But then once people start to realize that they can't sell it to Japanese for that high, they might lower their prices, and then that changes the market completely. And it's just like a whole fluctuation of shit. And especially it's happening a lot with denim. It's happening a lot with just like there's a lot of stuff that's just like every week it's changing. Like it could just even be through
the problem
Instagram.
is like with that mohair example, it's like say the price is X, say it's $500 for like a good mohair, right?
Yeah.
And then you're out there buying them for $250, $300 because you're like, or even $400. You're like, I'm gonna make $100, $200, and then the price drops next month, and you're like, shit, now I bought all these things for the overvalue because the price dropped so suddenly.
Yeah.
And then you're stuck with shit. So you have to, if you're out spending that kind of capital investing, like you really have to try to stay on top of it as much as you can, or you can lose your shirt sometimes.
Yeah, there's times where I lose money on shit. You can't. You got to get paid to the game. If you never know when shit's gonna drop in value. So you just gotta hope that it won't. But it's crazy.
Just
like,
go hard, so you don't have to worry about it. if you take a small percentage of losses, it's not going to affect
it's
you
fine,
too bad.
but
You know?
it's not. There's no point in just sitting on it for. And also, people don't. This is the funny thing. Another reason why I like to turn and burn shit, because if I'm turning and burning something, and let's say this other person has the same item and they want to get full value, and then the next week this shit drops in value, and like terribly, then they're gonna be fucked. And I don't have the item anymore. I'm good. Japanese can deal with that price drop. I don't have to. Like I'm worrying about the next thing that I'm getting in to try, hoping that so I can and then sell that quick because people do this. It happens all the time. Happened with t-shirts, dude. These fucking 90s t-shirts. People are buying on lies for $5,000, $10,000, whatever, $2,000, and shit's worth like $400 or $500 maybe now, and they're like stuck with it, and it's fucking. And it's because either they didn't want to sell it or like they just held on to it. But the market is just crazy the way stuff is fluctuating and how t-shirts are so low right now. It's great that vintage is like old shit is a lot higher right now. And I think t-shirts I could see t-shirts coming in a little bit more, but I don't really want them to, hopefully. I just want this old shit to stay where the money's at.
Another quick break to bring you a word from me, the man behind the podcast, Drew Heifetz, and how you can support this show. Couple ways you can support this show. You can jump on the Patreon for $5 a month, and I drop weekly tidbits on there that help you grow your vintage business. And this week, what I'm going to be dropping on there is my cross-listing experience, okay? I'm going to drop all the information you're going to need to know to cross-post your items from eBay to Grail to Etsy to Shopify, and do it all easily and seamlessly. I'll give you guys all of my tricks that I use and all the things that I've learned and what not to do, because you can waste a lot of time trying to figure out cross-posting integration. So I'm going to drop my full guide to cross-posting integrations. If you're going to post on one, why don't you post on all? That's why I always say catch more fish with one stone. I don't know. Whatever the saying is, you get the point. So that's going to be on the Patreon this week. And I also drop lots of other things on the Patreon, but you can click down below and check it out. But this week, it's going to be all the information you need to cross-post on all the online websites on there. The other way you can support this show is simply by shopping at FasandFrankVintage.com. And as always, you get 25% off for the listeners with code VTG and stuff. Go shop the website. Click here. Click up there in the corner or something, or down below in the bio. And go grab yourself some dope vintage, 30% off. Thank you guys for listening. I appreciate the listeners of the show big time. Check out the Patreon and shop FasandFrankVintage.com. You know, we see in fashion and vintage is no different than regular fashion. We see trends all the time in like styles and what's popular. You know, denim goes up in value as the trend goes up, or sometimes like hippie fashion will be up, or rockabilly will be up. Like, what are you seeing in trends in vintage right now?
Rockabilly, I think, is going up a little bit. I personally think rockabilly is going up. I think a lot of the stuff like that, like the old gabardine stuff and everything like that, is going up. I'm able to sell it a lot easier.
That's dope.
I think denim, red lines are a lot up right now. I remember last year I could only sell them for $150. Now I'm buying them to resell at $150.
Nice.
Which is pretty crazy. And what else? Mohair's been on and off, been doing pretty well. Patchwork stuff is great, like that. That shit's going up. Old sweats have been going down, but I think they're going back up again, which is great. There was a time where I was having trouble selling old sweats for $100 now. Some of them I can get like a lot more money on. What about you? What do you think? Like, I know it's my interview, but I want to hear your take.
Yeah, what do I think? I don't even know, man. As far as that stuff, I don't see enough of it. I'm not like that connected. You know, I didn't even know sweats were going down. I thought sweats were still on the rise, but maybe they're coming back.
I'm saying they went down maybe like a couple months ago. I feel like they were down a little bit, but now they're back up. And even like Levi's, like
I mean, I know vintage Patty has gone up a lot, which is crazy.
Patty's going
because
up
like
a lot
I've
too.
seen, I don't really, see, it's weird. I don't really follow prices that in depth because like the Patty shit I just keep, but then once in a while I'll try to sell a piece and I'll have to like figure out the value. But I did notice the prices have gone crazy on that.
Lee stuff is going up too. Like Lee Riders, a lot of Lee Riders going up. Like I just saw.
That's dope.
I just had a 91B jacket that I sold for a good amount, and I just looked on eBay. One of them just went for fucking $1,200, which is insane to what they probably would have went for a year ago, maybe like half of that.
I used to get those so often, man.
Salt and pepper stuff I think is doing pretty good. A lot just early denim stuff, like biker and studded stuff with studs. Any like old hippie stuff with studs, biker stuff with studs, shit's going up. Patterns like animal print patterns are going up. There's a lot of, if you look, I feel like you can really kind of see the trend of stuff. The higher accounts who post the stuff like that changes the market. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, for sure. Do you think that like all the American younger generation getting involved in this is bringing up values on anything?
Yeah. Because I think that's where the sweatshirt thing plays in. Because all these kids who start off doing true vintage, all they want is like old sweats now. So I think them buying those is helping the price go up a little bit. And that's also, I think, the same thing with mohair. Like, all these kids who starting to do true vintage want to wear fucking mohair because they, I don't know, want to look like Kurt Cobain. So that's why shit went up too. And, in Japan too, a lot of what people wear in Japan and what they like is affecting our prices too. It's pretty crazy to think about, but like if people in Japan are starting to want to buy mohair more, then mohair in US we're able to get more, because a lot of the prices that I would get for my mohair and stuff like that would beat the Japanese buyers. So whatever they were paying is kind of like what market was and what I would be able to set my prices at. And that goes along with denim and like anything else really that you're like trying to figure out the market on. It really is affected by like what Japanese buyers are paying, because sometimes they'll pay the top dollar for a lot of for certain items that Americans won't pay anywhere close for.
Yeah. I bought one of my favorite things from you was the Rob Rothkopf shirt. Remember that?
Yeah, I wonder what that shirt's worth now. That was on the house too.
Yeah. That was down at the house? Sick.
Yeah. That was on the house. We found that in the house with...
gangster.
If I can remember correctly, I think we found a bunch of old skate shit in that house. Like we found old Stussy. We found a board signed by, I don't remember. We sold it to some guy, Dusty. Shout out Dusty at Rollsville. You might know Dusty. He's Death Storage Units. He's awesome. But fucking full team signed skateboard with.
Is he like the longer hair dude, tall guy?
Yes.
I know him. Yeah.
Okay. Christian Hazoy, Tony Hawk,
damn,
Lance Mountain, all these fucking top old 80s skaters signed this board, and I think we found that in the same house as the Rob Rothkopf, right? Rob Rothkopf? Is that how you say it?
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
I missed that shirt.
Yeah, that shirt's sick. I think I paid you like $5 for it, so it wasn't like cheap, but I think I was happy to get it because I didn't have one, and I was like, "This one's."
You paid me more than that.
Did I?
Pretty sure.
Maybe like
no,
I don't
because you
remember.
said it was the most expensive thing you said the T-shirt you ever bought. So maybe.
Yeah, but dude, I don't pay a lot, man.
Okay.
I'm cheap compared to. I mean, it would have been around like 5 to 7. It wasn't much more than that, but yeah, I was stoked on getting that one. What about you? What do you collect? Like, what stuff do you keep? Obviously, it's probably rotating wardrobe, but is there anything that you're like, is that stuff behind you part of your collection, or is that just stuff that's kind of waiting for a buyer?
I like stuff like that. You want me to bring it down and show you real quick? I haven't posted it yet, so
sure, yeah.
New. Nobody's seen this yet. I'll show you. It's really fucking cool. So this, you might have seen this on Instagram. I had to buy this off somebody. I haven't posted it yet. And this is kind of giving it away, but it's okay. So this is a Wrangler jacket, and I'm fucking in love with fully patchwork stuff, like very, very 70s hippie shit. And this thing is like insane. I fucking love shit like this. Like you can't even see like the denim on the jacket. It's fully patchworked. Like every single place you look. And if you even flip the cuffs, there's patches under there like that. It's a great patch right there. It says sex relief tension. But yeah, shit like this, and also even the thing I'm wearing right now, is pretty great. I like shit like this. I don't want to give it away because people are gonna start buying them and trying to fucking tax me on them. But old print shirts like this from the 50s and the 40s, I'm really into. Was like cool, really cool. Now I have an example right here too. I can show. Stuff like this, I'm really in love with. Cool, old like prints like this with like just random novelty stuff like surfers and whatnot. You might have seen me. You can put it up on the screen the old surfer prints I've had in the past, and super into this kind of stuff, like old novelty shit, like very rockabilly, very I don't know, it's cool, like pullover shirts like this with like
that one like almost has like the short sleeve sweatshirt cut to it, right?
Yeah.
Those old ones. Have you seen those like day glow ones that were like neon
we
colors?
One of those out of a house, and I regret reselling that too.
Yeah, those are crazy.
Yep.
That stuff's super hard to find. I love that patchwork. You know, that's like folk art in a sense, right? Where somebody's taken a cool piece of clothing and made it their own, and now it's like this thing that you can never replicate exactly. Yeah. It's like really personalized. And
you got to think about the person that owned it too. Like that, how fucking like dude probably was on acid every single day. It's probably the sickest dude ever.
Hell yeah. That's awesome. Have you found much hippie leather in your digging, like East West and stuff like that?
Surprisingly, I wish, but I've never found an East West. I want to. I really do.
I feel like you would come up on that shit doing what you're doing.
That's cool.
Yeah, for sure.
And denim, obviously. I like denim a lot. So as you can tell, I'm very in love with denim. As much as I love Levi's, I'm way bigger fan, I think, of Lee. I know I was fucking bought those stupid jeans, but Lee has always been my thing. I don't know why. I've always liked the fit of Lee. I think I like Lee denim. I think it's honestly sturdier than Levi's denim. Lee's great.
So what's the oldest Lee pair of jeans you've had?
I have a like crotch rivet 40s pair. The oldest pairs that I have are the ones that I wear. So I have like 2 pairs of like 40s crotch rivet ones.
Are they center tag?
Yeah, 2 pairs, not cowboy or anything, but I think they're 1-on-1s. And those are great. And I have a nice 50s. Like I have some good 50s Lee jackets that a lot of my Lee that I own, I wear. Like I wear Lee more than like I don't even wear 501s to be honest. Like very rarely. I like Lee Riders more than anything, and they have better fits and everything from how my body type is. I got long legs, so at least always long.
That's awesome, dude. What's that? Is that an army chore jacket behind you? What's that jacket on the wall?
Oh, this one. So this we found this is a Boss. So it's Boss. So there's Boss on the Road, which you probably know about for sure.
Yeah.
Which is the 2 elephants that are pulling I think they're pulling the jeans on the tag.
Yeah.
And this is actually called Boss. And it's just as rare, I'd say. And it just has, it's like, I'll show you. I'll bring it down. The tag is really cool. We found this one in the house. There's a video I can try and find it and send to you before you post the podcast. But there's video of me pulling this out of a closet in a house with like some really old like Chevrolet coveralls, and this is a really cool brand. I'll show it to you right now.
So it's actually a different brand than Boss of the Road?
Would you say it's a different brand?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
a different brand. Different line.
It's a whole different brand. It's from the 30s. I'll show you the tag. It's a really cool tag. Give me a second. All right. So I got a bit mixed up. This one is, I think, Boss on the Road. So it has this one is the one with the elephants pulling the tag. So there's Boss, which is the one with the bulldog, and this is Boss on the Road, where it has the 2 elephants pulling the pair of jeans right there.
And that's like a 1 pocket or two pocket or what?
This one's a 2 pocket. They're holding on for dear life, but it's a 2 pocket. And what's crazy about this one is that they used a bunch of different janky buttons. This one's like a Reese button. You can see that.
Sick.
Reese button right there. And then right here is a World War I U.S. Army Zing button. That's also pretty cool. And all the buttons are different. And
love it.
Yeah, we had this one at Durango. You might have seen it, but this is really cool. The denim on it's fucking insane. And this is one of my favorite finds as well. Pulling this one out of just like a regular closet was really weird, but also really cool.
Yeah, totally.
Yes.
So how was Rendezvous last weekend? Big weekend. You had Rendezvous and you had Rose Bowl.
Yeah,
Rendezvous and you had all the fresh stock from the trip, right?
Yeah. So that was great. It was great. I sold a lot of stuff that I've been hoarding. There's a lot of stuff that I don't post that I've been hoarding for a really long time. And I just decided to bring all that out, and I sold all of it, which I'm kind of bummed about because it was just gone in a weekend. I haven't seen it in like a couple months. It's just been, I have a little box in my room that I just start stacking stuff into. That's like my gnarly shit, and I just brought it out for the weekend. Now it's gone. So hopefully I'll just get more. But
You got to fill it up again. But your bank account's fat, so
yeah, I was stoked. And good buyers, lots of good buyers. If anybody has great shit, I mean, you don't have to have crazy shit, but if you have cool shit and you want to bring it, there should be another. I think it's once a year, right?
Rendezvous.
Yeah, right.
I thought they do it twice a year. I thought he was doing a couple of them.
Maybe it is. Maybe it is another one like September. I think you might be right, or something like that. But if anybody,
so
has
that
good
was
shit,
that was the first time you did it then?
That's the first time I've done it. I've been selling at Rose Bowl for like 5 years, and I normally just do that. I normally was doing Rose Bowl, and I was doing Long Beach. Now all I do is Rose Bowl, but this is my first time doing like a high end event, like with like, you know, lots of like high end buyers, with probably some more, like there was definitely some famous people that rolled through, like Tyler the Creator was there, so that was pretty
Sick.
cool. Yeah. So yeah, that was a.
So
I want to do more events like
question,
that.
are you doing inspiration? You said you have talked to Zip about potentially just bringing out the jeans for display. Are you going to set up a booth at Inspiration?
Yeah, I'm planning on doing it, whether it's with Zip or a couple of my other buddies who've been talking about it too. But we're talking to one of the event planners right now, and we've been texting them, and so we're gonna see if we can get a nice little booth there, hopefully a good spot. And where the plan is to bring out the jeans and maybe have them out for display. Can't touch them, but for display.
Yeah. Did you go to Inspiration back when it was on?
Never been to
pre-COVID?
Inspiration. I've wanted to.
Okay.
And before COVID, I wanted to, but I just don't think I ever got the chance. But now,
Yeah.
like I've shopped at Rendezvous, but this is my first time selling at Rendezvous. So, but I'm not sure what kind of the vibe is at Inspiration. I know it's called Inspiration for a reason. There's a lot of designers and a lot more higher up people in the fashion industry that come and shop. So if they see something with a cool design that they'll just buy it for whenever you want, that might be cool.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it has that vibe. It has this probably similar vibe to Rendezvous, to be honest. Similar sellers, similar buyers. You know, it's been gone for so long. It's hard to remember. Some of them were really good. Some of them were a bit slower. It just depends, man, what's going on in the market.
So you sold there before?
Yeah, we sold at every one.
Oh,
except
really?
for the last one that happened. We were at the first one, which was in Santa Monica in a airport hangar, like a really cool space.
Actually, really sick.
And then they had it at the Queen Mary on the boat in Long Beach. You know that boat that sits in the harbor, the Queen Mary?
Yeah.
It's like a ship. And then they moved it to like the downtown convention center or something. So they were all different, but they were all good. Because at the time, this was years and years ago, there was like 7 of the events or something. That was the first American show of its kind of caliber, right? Where it was geared towards more high-end, collectible and rare vintage. So it was super cool, and we had a great time doing them. And I'm hoping this one too, like it's obviously going to be a lot different than it was back in the day, but I'm hoping this attracts like a lot more American buyers and a lot more younger people, and you know, it gets really popping because Rin has great intentions with it. And yeah, I just hope it's a big success. So we're going to do this one for sure. We already talked to Rin about getting a booth, and we'll be out there.
Oh, sick. Yeah, I think the way vintage has been going this year, I think there's going to be a lot of people there. Like judging by how a current Rendezvous went, it's going to go well. I think there's going to be a lot of fuckers.
Nice. So you want to? Oh, so I have actually. This is the fun part of it. This is the fun part of the podcast. I got to pull up my notes here. But we're calling this the quick digs, okay? So I'm going to run through like some questions for you, kind of that I ask all the guests on the show, okay?
Okay, shit.
Don't worry, I'm not doing it. This isn't a trivia, but this is your opinion. Okay, so who do you have as your vintage GOAT, male and female? Like who do you look up to in the business as far as one male, one female?
Dang. I wish I knew you were asking me this. I Are you familiar with Yagi?
Not really.
Poggy is his Instagram.
Oh yeah.
Yes, him.
So he's your guy?
He's like my vintage dad, I feel like. Like, he's fucking nicest dude. He knows everything. He's got the craziest fucking collection, has really good taste. That fool is fucking amazing. I've known him for a very long time, since one of my first ever Japanese buyers since I've started doing this. Nicest, sweetest guy. He's amazing. Shout out Yagi. I hope he sees this. He's the best. And then
Okay, dope.
woman seller. Man, that's a hard one. I'm trying to think. Sorry. I feel like I should know.
It's all good.
Right off the
No,
bat.
it's all good, man.
I know a lot of sellers. Shout out Jen, Purple Panther Vintage. We've had our bad past and we've gone to a lot of arguments, but shout out her. I'll say her because she's a fucking great
Okay.
picker. She finds really great shit and she works really fucking hard. Her and our buddy Francis, Monica Vintage, just went on a trip really recently. Found some great shit. Shout out to her. She works really hard. She got great taste and she finds really cool shit and she's about this shit, so shout out her.
Purple Panther.
Vintage.
Nice.
Yeah.
Sick. Okay, who do you put as like most underrated right now? Like, who do you want to put on game and like shout out who maybe isn't getting the shine they potentially deserve?
That's another good question. Underrated. Maybe my buddy Seth out in PA.
Okay, dope.
He doesn't have a lot of shine on him, but he's killing it. He works really hard too. He has good taste. He finds great shit. He when I went picking with him, fucking food's an animal. He's a real animal. He was in the Marines. He's about this shit. He's not scared of anything.
He's got the training.
Yeah, he does. I saw this fool flip over. He fucking tripped with a whole pile of clothes. Did a front tumble and it held on to every single piece of clothing in his arms. Like, it was a crazy shit. Like, this fool's an animal. And I feel very comfortable picking with him. So shout out to Seth.
And what's his IG for everybody?
Skybox Vintage. If you look at my page, we posted the afterhood together, so you can just go click on there. But everybody should go follow him. He's got cool shit. Nice dude.
Okay,
Nice
dope.
dude.
On that note, like, there's a lot of people doing the bandos now, and there's kind of like a community of it, right? There's people in Colorado, there's people down south, there's people like in the east, there's people all over the place, and it's kind of like a newer community emerging. Are you guys all typically like, are you homies with a lot of them, and you guys like chat and like keep in touch?
Yeah. Like, another shout out I'll do. Jared, House Emporium, Angel, After School Vintage, and Mike, Son of a Thrift. You might have seen those guys, but they're fucking all insane motherfuckers. The coolest dudes ever. Very, very humble. Those are all my buddies. I've known them for a minute now, and they all find really crazy shit. They're all really nice, and they got great taste. They know what the fuck they're doing, and yeah, those are like my three. I know them. There's some other people.
Dope.
But those are some dudes I want to give a shout out that I'm good homies with that also do the bando picking. They're also really good at it. Better than me, for sure.
Sick. Really? Okay.
Yeah, 100%.
Big claims.
Way better than me.
Need to
They've
go,
been doing it for a minute now. You got to go check them out. They have found some crazy shit, and they're awesome. They're just awesome dudes. So, Mike, Vintage on Canyon.
Nice.
Is
Okay.
not Son of a Thrift. Vintage on Canyon just opened up a store in New Mexico. Go check it out. Really humble dude, really cool guy. So I like giving shout outs.
Opened up a store where?
New Mexico, just recently. Vintage
Oh,
on
cool.
Canyon.
Sick.
So go check them out.
Okay, so what's your most prized vintage piece that you own? Or adversely, the grail that you're like wanting to acquire?
Okay, I'm not gonna say the fucking jeans because that's whack. I can't do that because everybody knows
that
about
would be the obvious one, yeah.
Yeah. Trying to look around my room if I have anything. I'm really stoked on this patchwork jacket right now. I'm not gonna lie. Like, this is probably one of my favorite things I've had in a minute. Also, along with that Mad TV shirt that I really like a lot. Don't think I'll ever get rid of that thing. Never, like, I feel like you barely see the early ones. I love Mad magazines, so that shit's fucking cool and it fits me perfect. Never gonna get rid of that.
So is that like early 60s or something, or when was
No,
that
it's
from?
50s. That's just pretty great.
50s,
It's like
okay.
early to mid 50s, I think. One of the first ever Mad magazine shirts to ever be put out.
Wow.
So that thing's pretty cool. What I'm trying to get right now, I want some more Lee shit, more old Lee shit, like actual Lee cowboy jeans with gnarly fades and shit and repairs. I want just shit for myself, you know. So anything Lee that's
Yeah.
old and cool looking, I want. So that's like
Okay.
how I'm looking for.
Sell this man your Lee, everybody.
For cheap. Thank you.
What's the worst trend in the vintage scene currently?
I don't want to flame anybody, but the
Oh, fuck.
worst scene. Just I don't, the stupid fucking remakes of the vintage T-shirts that people are doing. I'm sorry, I don't care for them. I mean, then again,
Yeah.
I don't really wear any of that shit, so I can't really say anything. But also, the kids. There's a lot of kids nowadays. I'm not gonna say names, but there's a lot of kids who are trying to buy a lot of me and a lot of my buddy styles for what we're posting and what we're selling, and that kind of sucks. So I don't like when they do that. They're just a lot of just these sweatshirt kids that just buy 60 sweatshirts and wear them. And I don't want to say names, but that's just kind of how I see it. There's a lot of kids that I've been seeing.
Yeah,
doing
no,
that.
for sure. I mean, everyone's entitled to their opinion, and the business is like, there's always going to be someone coming up on the heels, right? And like, that will never change unless you want to hide away. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's just like there's a lot of people I see that are just like probably watching me and a lot of my buddies and what we post and what we buy and what we wear and just trying to emulate that. But and they just don't got their own swag, so that kind of sucks. But you kind of start you know it's pretty obvious when it's happening. So
Yeah.
I'm not
for
saying
sure.
I have a bunch of swag.
Okay,
but
so
it's just I'm not saying if I have a bunch of swag. I'm not trying to like hype myself up or anything. I'm just saying like it's pretty obvious when you see somebody posting the same shit and buying the same shit as you only because they think that you're either gonna want it or because that you're already doing it. So that's all I want to say. But shout out to the people
you do have
what?
You have a very distinct style for sure.
Well, shout out to the people that are
And
original and doing their own thing and fucking killing it and being their own selves. Like Leg Garbage, Connor. Shout out Connor. He does his own shit. Shout out Will, Bang for Your Buck. He's doing his own shit. These fools got great style. They're killing it. They don't copy anybody. They do what they think is cool to themselves, and they like it because they like it. So shout out them.
Hell yeah. This is an epic episode for shout-outs. There's a lot of people getting shout-outs. It's fucking rad. I love it.
People deserve it. People deserve it. There's not a lot of people that get the light they need. They hopefully, I mean, this is not going to give them all the light they need, but hopefully it helps. So
It will, for sure. So what's the best trend in vintage currently? Now you get to like, what are you liking about the scene right now?
Rockabilly stuff for sure. People are starting to, have more appreciation for shit like this, and like, I mean, I don't want to say that so people start buying it, but shit like that, and like old like Gap shit, old rayon shit, just cool designs, cool patterns, and what else? Cropped stuff. I liked cropped stuff, and people are starting to wear more cropped stuff, which is cool. I think it's a good look. Good patina.
Yeah, like you're referring to like more men in crop stuff.
Yeah, I mean women. A lot of women
fucking
wear a
right,
lot
dude.
of crop stuff.
That's
yeah.
a wicked one.
I love wearing crop stuff.
I
This
love
shirt's
that.
fucking
Like
tiny on me. I don't care.
I see it.
I like everything. I will also. I do it because of my body type. I have a very small torso, long legs, but crop stuff I think looks good for me. And when I see other people wearing it and have good style, it's cool. And I'm starting to see more people wearing cooler shit, and that's really cool. Like people are actually give a shit about how they look, and They're starting to fucking dress cool. And whenever I see these cool rockabilly guys like Zach Vargas, cool guy. You might know Zach Vargas. He runs the store in Hollywood in LA. I forgot what it's called, but really cool dude. Been rocking rockabilly shit forever. Same with Bud from Crash the Party and Vintageous Outrageous. He great style. I look up to the guy a lot. He has really cool style and he has cool shit. And they got cool like that rockabilly style. They've been rocking it since the 80s and 90s, which is what's so rad about it too. So it's cool to see more people like kind of getting into that style. And yeah, I think that shit's cool.
Nice. Okay, last question on the quick digs is, if you could go on a picking trip with any 3 people, who are you taking? This should be easy for you because you do this all the fucking time. What 3 people is your dream team?
Probably my buddy Seth and my buddy Christian and my buddy Lil Chris, who I've all gone on trips with before. I know I already have a good dynamic with all 3 of them in separate ways, and they all have good shit. And I'll just throw my buddy Matt in there too, Burn Pit. He's always been fucking killer dude, and he's always fun to go on trips with. He knows exactly what the fuck he's doing. So all those dudes, they're not gonna blow the spot. They're not gonna get us caught. So that's cool. I'm not sure what kind of picking trip you're talking about, like bandos or not. But I'm talking to bando.
I mean, it could be anything. Yeah, totally.
I'm talking about bandos. So,
no, that's gangster. So, what's next for you, man? Like, you got any plans you want to share? Or like, obviously we talked about inspiration already. You're probably going to come out there. You're at Rose Bowl every month. You're going to continue to crush it in the vintage game. You got any, like, what's next?
I mean, I've talked to a lot of people. People have been asking me about this for like a year now, but like maybe opening up my own store. I don't know if that's going to be the case, but it would be nice. It would be nice to have my own little show. I need to open it. I need to open up a showroom. I've been talking to it a lot with my buddies, and we haven't really set up anything, but it's just been like something I've been really wanting to do. Have a space for people to check out. Not sure where I want to do it. Not sure when I want to do it, but it needs to happen. I think it's about time. So. Showroom or store.
Because you're currently operating out of a storage locker. Is that correct?
Yes. Which is cool.
There's
nothing wrong with that. But
yeah, I'm not saying nothing wrong with it.
I know. Just a showroom.
You got a store. You keep expenses down.
I think getting a showroom would keep my expenses down because I'm paying $650 for a fucking storage unit right now, and that's fucked up. I feel like if I were to split a showroom with my buddies, split a store with my buddies, I'd be paying close to the same. If we just split up equally. Probably. So.
Yeah. No, a showroom is rad because a showroom is essentially a storage unit that it's better and you meet people there and you sell them shit.
You don't have to stay there all day.
Exactly. A store comes with like all the responsibilities of like staff and everything else. So that's a whole nother ball game. But
I ain't staying there all day, that's for sure. I need somebody else to stay there.
You're hitting the back roads, bud.
Yeah.
So that's dope. Well, anything else you want to get into? Anything we missed on the show? Any other? I mean, you've already given a million shout outs, but you can give some more.
I did give a lot of shout outs. Shout out to you, if anything. Thanks for having me on here. This is fucking sick. I'm glad I actually came on. I don't know. I was always weird about coming on here and wanting to talk about the bando stuff, and I don't really want to burn it out. But I mean, with the conversation we had, I don't think I did. But I
was chilling. I mean, there's already everybody posting anyway. It's not like this is getting to a lot more people than already seeing what's going on anyway, you know? So
yeah, thank you for having me on here, dude. I really appreciate it. And it's cool that you gave me this platform to talk about, what's going on. So I appreciate you. And for all the other people that you've interviewed, it's cool that you're able to do that for them and, put like what they got going on in a little bit of the light. So that's super rad.
Well, thank you, dude. I appreciate that. And everybody needs to, if they're not following you, they need to go follow you. It's always entertaining and always killer shit. And I wish you all the best, dude. Thank you for coming on. It's been a good chat.
Yeah, this is fun. Yeah, a lot more fun than I thought. I was a little nervous, but now this is overdone, so thank God.
You crushed it.
Thank you.
That is it for another episode of Vintage and Stuff. Thank you guys for tuning in. Kyle, thanks for being on the show. Again, if you want to come check out the Bid Stitch Flea Link down below. Get all the info. March 4th, Pasadena, California. If you want to support the show, please go check out the Patreon. I am dropping weekly exclusive knowledge and information that will help you grow your vintage business. Also, shop FSandFrankVintage.com. 30% off. Code VTG and stuff. That's it. Signing out. See you guys on the next one.